up, guys? What up, guys? What up, guys? I'm just getting a few things in order. Come on in, come on in. Chat them up, chat. Chat them up. Alright. Let's go. And chat. I gotta optimize this stuff for mobile. But I'm gonna give everybody a minute to come in. I'm going to give everybody a minute to come in. All right. Chat them up. You know how we do. You know how we do. So, we got like 3 minutes. But today, essentially, let me make sure I can be heard. Mic check. Yeah, I'm good. So today, essentially, I'm coming off of the As a Man Thinketh conference. And then we got Sunday sermon at TD Jake's church. And then his speech was Groans to Glory. And then we got Wednesday night Bible study. So one thing I realized with coming on to these platforms is that, you don't want to come on and just be saying anything. You never know who's listening. You never know the level of their, spiritual maturity. You never know their need. And so my job is to prepare as best I can, to present you guys with something that you can take away with and be inspired, because that's at the end of the day, that's what I stand for. And that's what I stand on. So, I'm pulling up the chat real quick. Y'all come in. I'm pulling up all my chats. Pulling up all of my chats. Let me mute them out. There we go. Let me mute it. There we go. And there we go. So yeah, chat. I'm gonna be in and out of the chat, but y'all have to bear with me because I'm gonna be locked in on this information because I want to get y'all this information. And if it get hot, I'm definitely taking this jacket off. This is just for aesthetics. But yeah, so the first things first, man. The title that we have in here is pretty much dealing with life. And if you feel like life has been unfair to you, if you feel like life has hated on you, you got to stay locked in. You got to stay locked in because you got to have faith through the tough times. And what I was doing was looking at Solomon. And Solomon in the Bible, I don't know if he woke up one day and was like, you know what, I got to get this off my chest. Or if he just thought about, or he just had a moment of reflection. But essentially, he went through and explained, man, listen, and I'm paraphrasing, like he's saying basically like I've been to all the parties, I've had all the women, I've basically bought and had everything I could put my eye on. You know what I mean? I remember Michael Jordan, somebody asking him how I feel to be super rich, and he was like, being rich is like everything is free because you can afford everything. And I'm sure, but anyways, so Solomon, like, I've been to all the parties, I've had all the women, had drinks, I've been with kings, I've sat with peasants, I've sat with rich people, I've sat with poor people, I've sat around fools, I've sat around wise men, I've been everywhere. I've seen so much. And what I come to realize is that, number one, it's all vain. He said it's all vain. It's all vain. At the end of the day, the wise man gonna perish. At the end of the day, the fool is gonna perish. At the end of the day, the rich man is gonna perish. And he don't even know if the person that he hands his estate over to is gonna treat it right. The poor man is gonna perish. This is essentially what Solomon was explaining, is that life is gonna life. Life is gonna life. You know what I mean? Life is gonna life. So if you out there and you feeling like, you know what, life is not fair. You looking at everybody else, you seeing what they got going on, you trying to compare and contrast, things are not making sense to you compared to where you feel like you should be. We deal with that a lot of times, and we've all been there. And so what I want to do to you today is to encourage you to continue to believe. And I might step on a few toes today, but just understand that when I'm talking to you, I'm also talking to myself. You know what I mean? I'm also talking to some things I've been through. So just bear with me. So the first thing that I genuinely, really want to say is that life is gonna life. But this is the thing I don't want. I don't want your confusion and your frustration and the things that you're going through. I don't want your hope to dwindle or your belief to falter because you're depending and watching somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's the first thing that I would say is, don't make the mistake of living your life in comparison, in response to the next person. We all been there. You wake up in the morning, you got a trending topic. Everybody's focusing on it. Everybody talking about it. Did you hear what this person said? Did you hear what that person said? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And we can't control what they got going on, but we can't live our life in response to what a naysayer said, or in response to what somebody said that's offended you, or in response to, the trending topic. You just because you're not commenting on what's going on in pop culture and rap, in the industry, in politics, in churches, whatever, just because you're not commenting on that don't mean you're irrelevant. You know what I mean? Because that can be something that gets us off of our mark, is when we constantly compare and we live in our life as a reaction to what other people think. That's a huge thing that I think is, everybody deals with it. Everybody has dealt with it, especially with social media. You know what I mean? Especially with everything that's going on, as far as everybody wants to express themselves. Everybody wants to have a place. Everybody wants to have a platform. You know what I mean? And that's all good. But I will say this. We are losing our peace trying to keep up with people who are also losing their peace. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. And don't be in that category, because when you stop living as a reaction to others, then you start living in alignment with purpose. When you stop living as a reaction to others, then you start living in alignment with purpose. And I know a lot of you might say, well, you know, this happened to me and I try to live right, or, you know, when I was doing bad, nothing was going wrong. When I was just out there, didn't care, you know, I could get away with anything. And then when I try to do right, that's when everything started going wrong. You know, that's the paradoxical nature of life. And that's what King Solomon was talking about. You know, but I will say this, and I'm going to say it in 3 different ways. You know, I heard one person say every dog has its day. You know what I mean? And the Bible says time and chance happens to them all. Time and chance happens to them all. You're going to get your chance. Your time going to come. But the trials are sent. And the unfair things are sent. Not to try to take you out. Not because, you know, God doesn't want you to succeed. Not because the world is against you. It might feel like that, but these trials and tests are sent to purify you, to elevate your understanding. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, wisdom is the ability to understand life beyond the obvious. Wisdom is the ability to understand life beyond the obvious. And so once we take that into perspective, we can elevate our circumstance and why we're going through it, and we can realize it's just meant to get us in alignment for what we was created to do. Because your time gonna come. And if nobody can stop your time from coming, the only thing that will take you out of position is being in the wrong mentality, or being in the wrong state of mind, or not recognizing the opportunity for what it is, or arriving at a great opportunity, getting your payoff, and then you're somebody totally different. And you don't carry out the mission that you were supposed to carry out. You know, so time and chance happen to them all. You know, so life is full of paradoxes, you know, and fairness isn't guaranteed. You know, fairness is not guaranteed. But we don't want to react emotionally to others' lives and opinions, because faith steadies you when outcomes are unpredictable. That's why I don't want you to lose the belief. That's why I don't want you to lose the faith. Because once you continue to be grounded in your belief, you continue to have faith, then the things that we go through, we can come out on the other side way more prepared for our purpose. You know, way more prepared for our purpose. And it's just like in football, we used to run through something called the gauntlet. And in the gauntlet, you got all the players lined. You got half the players lined up on one side, half the players lined up on the other side. And your job is to run through, holding the ball, and their job is to try every single thing they can to get that ball out of your hands. Every single thing they can to get the ball out of your hands. You got people punching the ball. You got people grabbing the ball. You got people grabbing your arm. You got people hitting you up against the head. It's just like, it's called the gauntlet. Life is like this sometimes. It seems like we trying to get through and everybody taking a shot at us. But that was to prepare us for the game. That was to prepare us for when the lights came on. That was to prepare us for when the time counted and it was official. And after you've gone through that gauntlet, I tell you this, after going through that gauntlet, it's way easier. It's way easier to have ball control. It's way easier to hold on to the rock. And I'm telling you guys that after you go through what you go through, and you keep the belief and you keep the faith, then it's going to be way easy for you each time you go through something. Because we lose the expectation of where we should be compared to the next person. Who we should be compared to what we thought we were. What we should be compared to what we've been told or what we see or what we heard. You know what I mean? And that's not always the intelligent thing to do. So right now, I'm going to open up questions in the chat. And I'm going to ask, you know what I'm saying? Who has ever done everything right and they feel like they still got left out, or they still took a loss, or they was still behind? You know what I'm saying? Who? Drop dubs in the chat. Drop dubs in the chat if you learning to believe anyway. But first I want to know in the chat, who has felt like they've been trying to do the right thing, they've been trying to live right, there was a situation where they felt that they was doing everything right, still had bad luck, still had negative energy, still had terrible things happen. But you got to keep the faith. You got to keep the faith. You have to keep the faith. You know, because to everything there's a season. You know what I mean? There's a time and place for everything. There was a time for you to be not seen. There's a time for you to sit down. There's a time for you to be hidden. Just like there's a time for you to be in front of people. There's a time for you to speak. There's a time when you'll be in high demand. There's a time where everything that you want will be coming to fruition. You know, every season has a purpose. Either it's pruning, cutting away all the things about you that's not going to work for you to be the best you can be, or whether it's planting, you in a season where you feel stuck, but it's actually a cultivating season for you to be able to be solid, still enough so that you can grow and produce the seeds and the fruit that you need to produce. Or it's reaping. All right, God been working with you. You know what I mean? He been chastising you. He been putting you through some things. He been cutting you. You know, it's a difference. If a non-skilled, aggressive person cuts you, then that's considered assault. But if a surgeon cuts you, then that's considered healing. So when you've been being pruned and cut, God is the ultimate surgeon. When you've been being planted, you know what I mean? God is the ultimate farmer and gardener. And then you have reaping time to reap what you sown. That's why when it gets tough, that's why when it feels like it's not your season to win, when it's not your season to be seen, that's why you got to still keep the belief at the forefront of your mind. You got to still keep the faith, because, you know, resilience is faith in motion. So trust God's timing. That's what resilience is. My life may not look like I want it to look right now, but guess what? I'm trusting God. I'm still doing what I can do because I know my time coming. You know what I mean? Resilience is faith in motion, trusting God's timing. And I was listening to something earlier, and it's the CEO of a company, and he was giving a speech at a college, and he was saying in so many words that it's not your intelligence that'll build resilience. It's not your smarts that'll build resilience. It's not your grades that'll build resilience. He was saying, based on his life and his perspective, the only thing that built resilience in him was those tough times and those hardships. Those tough times and those hardships. Like I said, those times you feel like life was hating on you. You feel like nothing was fair. You feel like every effort you gave wasn't resulting the way you feel like it should result. It's just like, that's just what he said. And so he ended the speech, and he said, if there's one thing that I would wish upon you guys, and he said, that's just all I can see that builds resilience. He said, if there's one thing I could wish upon you guys in the best way I can, it's tough times. And the students was like laughing like, oh my goodness, you know what I'm saying? But that's really what it comes down to. That's really what it comes down to, is that, you know, God orchestrates these tough times. If you believe in God. Either way, if you believe in him or not, God controls everything. But I'm not here to push that on you. All I'm saying is, every single person in life, no matter what you believe, goes through a season where they understand that some things are just out of their control. So within the grasp of what you can control, which is your mentality, which is your mindset, you know what I mean? Which is your attitude, which is how you approach opportunities. Within things that you can control, you have to try your best to prepare for them. You know what I mean? Because all of this is giving you an opportunity to gain wisdom. To gain wisdom. Because wisdom doesn't eliminate the injustice. It helps a person to navigate it. See what I'm saying? Wisdom does not eliminate the injustices in life. It just helps people to navigate them. And so when we're actually trying to stay focused and we feel like life is against us and things are not happening for us, it's easy to lose belief and it's easy to lose faith. But understand, there's a higher power than you orchestrating these tasks so that once your time does come, once your season is here, you're able to capitalize on that and be a better person than you were before. Because let's just be honest, man. Can we be honest for a second? A lot of us understand. I can just speak for me. Let me speak for me. There were certain people in my life that had I met them at a different time in my life, the experience would have been totally different. Like, there was a time where I was like, man, I'm only wearing suits and ties because I'm a business person and because I graduated and this and that, and I just had a mentality like, this is what I want. Until I went through some hardships, and when you go through those hardships, it's like, hey, I can't even afford no suit and tie right now, and even if I could, like, I don't even have anywhere to wear them at. So if I'm only trying to dress nice and I can only afford a little bit of clothes, it's like, I'm messing up. Why I'm gonna buy, if I only got a little bit of money to buy clothes, why would I buy clothes that I'm not going anywhere that I can wear them? You know what I mean? So life humbled me. What did I do? I saw people that was jeans and t-shirt every day making way more money than me. I saw people that had went through the system that I had somehow escaped getting jobs before me. I saw people that when I left, they was at home. I done went off and went to college, came back home, they still get the job before me. This is what Solomon was talking about. I was going through testing times. You know what I mean? It wasn't physically demanding, but on my emotions and on my ego. That's really what it is, ego. And they say ego is edging God out. So a lot of times, all of the time, and I heard T.D. Jakes say this, our disappointment is attached to our expectations. You can't be disappointed if you don't have any expectations. I'm not saying avoid disappointment. I'm saying check your expectations. Because like I said, just like we speaking about, time and chance happen to them all. It don't matter what I did or what I feel like I should do. That time when I was just thinking, hey, I'm just going to wear slacks, shirt, and tie. And that's all I want to wear. And life hit me. And life kept hitting me. And I lost some money. Then I lost some more money. Then it was broke. It's like, look, man, I'm on these jeans and t-shirt because I can wear them everywhere. You know what I mean? And once I adapted that state of mind, it was different. So later on, when I did get that chance to make a pivot and determine what else I could do to advance my life and what was God trying to tell me, my whole mentality has shifted, and all the time I'm like, man, I'm not working nowhere that ain't off on weekends, get off at 5 o'clock, and I don't gotta sweat. Like, that was my goal and my expectation. But guess what? Life beat me down, and I had to go get it out the mud, literally. I went to the oil field. No suits, no ties. All dirt, all grime. But I got it out the mud. And I was making more money than most people that's going to offices from what I had seen. And so that's what I mean when I say keep the faith, keep the belief, don't compare. Because with comparison comes unwarranted expectations. With comparison comes unwarranted expectations. Nobody, if you were to just be going through life and you got a job and you got hired and you was glad that you got hired for that job, and the boss told you, look, man, you're going to be making $30 an hour, and you satisfied with $30 an hour, and you start at $35 and you feeding your family and all that's working. Like, don't see JoJo next door come in, just get hired, and they start him at $32 an hour. Now all of a sudden you expect to get $2 an hour. It's like, don't let other people, you comparing yourself to other people, give you unwarranted expectations, when otherwise you would have been satisfied with what you have. And so let your expectations come from, you know, what God said he created you to be. You know what I mean? And let your disappointments, if anything, come from us understanding that we can do better. We can always be better, and we'll never be perfect. And, you know, let's not let disappointment come from unwarranted expectations. You know, and that's what I'm saying. That the more of the story with that is that keeping a belief and keeping the faith through these tough times is what absolutely allows us to be prepared for when things do go right. For when things do go right. You know what I mean? So, let me put it in the chat. What season are you in right now? Let's pin that in the chat. What season are you in right now? You pruning? You being pruned? You know what I mean? You being planted or you being harvested? What season are you in right now? Let's put it in the chat. Pin it in the chat. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. So, you know, with that being said, okay. Now here's the thing. This is a very important part. We done went through how life is often unfair. You know, looking through the good book, it say you got wise men whose wisdom saved the city, yet they were forgotten. Nobody recognized it. They say you have fools who keep the company of fools and hold the power. You know what I mean? So we talked about life being like super paradoxical. It's a bunch of contradictions. Life literally is not fair all the time, as far as, you know, you have people that do evil their whole life and live long lives. You have people who try to do good their whole life and they have a short life. You got babies and toddlers and stuff that had tragedy happen to them. Then you got people who, you know, been doing crimes their whole life, violent crimes, aggressive crimes, you know, openly for evil, and they live long lives and they have a bunch of money. You know, but one thing about it, you know, like the scripture says, it's better to be a living dog than a dead lion. A living dog is better than a dead lion. What do you mean, Terrell? I'm saying if you compare a dog to a lion, then essentially you'll think that this dog represents a low place. It represents not so powerful. Then we think about a lion, it's high, it's mighty, it's the king of the jungle, it's the top of the food chain, top of the totem pole. But that lion is dead and that dog is living. So I say that to say, you know, respect life. Respect life. Respect life. A lot of times we get caught up in respecting statuses. We get caught up in respecting money. We get caught up in respecting jobs. You know, respecting everything else except for life itself. Because life is the ultimate balancer. Life is the ultimate balancer. No matter what any of us do in life, when our life is done, it's done. And eventually people will forget about us. You know what I mean? Eventually people will forget about us, and everything that we've accumulated, we will have to surrender. Everything we've accumulated, we will have to surrender. So appreciate life. Appreciate life. That's why you don't lose faith, because regardless of what's going on, what you have versus what you don't have, who you trying to compare yourself with, y'all on the same level, because y'all all have life, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. You know what I'm saying? And God willing, and hopefully you got food, hopefully you got clothes, hopefully you got a roof over your head, and hopefully you finding something to work toward. You know, that's the ultimate goal. Find something to work toward that gives you satisfaction. You know what I mean? That gives you satisfaction. And you rather be making $1,000 a week and be able to sleep at night, or rather than making $10 million a year and you can't sleep, you concerned, you doing stuff wrong, so you trying to worry about if SEC or the feds or tax people gonna get you. You know what I mean? I think Pitbull, the artist, said, when he do business, he rather have $1 million deal with peace of mind than a $100 million headache. You know, so appreciate life enough to enjoy the simple things. Don't take for granted being able to sleep at night, but that comes with contentment. That comes with contentment. And I know it's people that's like, well, you know, that sound good. Terrell trying to talk me out of my dreams, or Terrell trying to get me to think small. No. I'll never try to talk you out of your dreams. I just want you to be able to sleep at night. I don't want your dreams to be so big that you go months and months and months without having good sleep because you're stressing. That's a headache. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's worth it. Now, some people can tolerate that and live like that. That's cool. But I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to go to the good book and reference it and back it up, so you know I don't stand for you not going for your dreams. Because check this out. In the good book, it said in Ecclesiastes 11:2, y'all can look it up yourself. It says, give a portion to 7 and also to 8. And I'm paraphrasing because you don't know what's going to happen in life. What is that saying? What is that saying? Give a portion to 7 and also 8. It's saying diversify. Invest your money in different things. Do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do. Get your investments going. Diversify your portfolio. If you stream, post on all platforms, multi-stream, because you never know which one gonna hit. Do what you must do. You know what I'm saying? Do what you must do. But this is also talking about keeping your stock in the intangible things in life. You know what I'm saying? Go for that goal. Shoot for that $1 million. But also diversify with your peace of mind. Do what you do. Go for those business ventures. But also appreciate the meal that you have at the end of the day. Get that house that you want, that big house. Do what you got to do. You know what I mean? If you feel like you got to stay up all night for it, stay up all night for it. But the next day, get your rest. When the time comes, get your rest. You know what I mean? Invest in things in a multitude of ways, because you never know what could happen. Your $1 million idea, just like, think about Mr. Beast. Think about Mr. Beast. And if you was a person who liked moving around so much, you can't sit in one spot. Like, this is the irony of life. Mr. Beast pays people to do things that are seemingly ordinary, but could be difficult. Like, he paid a person to lose 100 pounds in 100 days, I think. See what I'm saying? Before that, who knows what he was doing before that? But it's like, you never know what God has in store for you. So do what you do. You know, invest in different things, but also invest in your mental health. Also invest in your peace of mind. Invest in your rest, your nutrition, your relationships. Like, live life in its fullness. Try all that you feel like you can try. That's within your purpose, within your vision. Because you never know what can happen in life. Think about all the people who had businesses in 2020 and had to totally adapt and change the way they did business after things happened. Think about all the people who are going through the government shutdown right now, and they having to find other ways to make ends meet. Think about the athletes who was able to run and jump just like me and played their whole life in a sport, and then they have an injury. You know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen. So I'm not in here trying to tell you be so spiritual that you're not about your business. No. I'm not in here telling you to be so nice that you don't stand your ground. No. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't look to people and be inspired. Learning from another person, being inspired by another person, being mentored by another person, getting information from another person that you can apply is totally different from comparing. It's totally different from molding your whole existence around one person's opinion. That's different. That's not what I'm saying. Do what you do. Get your money. Get your money. I made that mistake. Matter of fact, I made that mistake. Like, I had a series of unfortunate events happen to me. And within those unfortunate events, I didn't approach them as, okay, this is God testing you and preparing you to deal with hardships and to deal with them efficiently and effectively, and so he can show himself mighty in your life. I didn't think about that. And that's why I understand when the CEO said it's not intelligence that builds resilience. Because sometimes we so smart that we justify, hey, what, if this person wouldn't have did this, and if I wouldn't have did this with this other person, if I wouldn't have interacted on this person, got me, they got over it. I was a sucker. I'm not saying be a fool, but what I'm saying is sometimes we so smart that we end up being dumb and stuck. I was so analytical that I found myself not maximizing my present to prepare more for my future. Because you could be the most intelligent person in the world, and you can be right, and people could have not done right by you, and life may have dealt you a series of bad cards. But like TDJ said, there's somebody out there that can win with that hand. There's somebody out there that would have won with their hand. So don't be so smart that you justify something that you can no longer control. What the past is the past. Yes, heal, but heal as you're moving forward. And I would even go so far as to say moving forward is part of the healing process. And so that's why I understand why that CEO said only resilience is made in tough times. Because what I didn't realize quick enough, and this is just me, critiquing myself. I didn't make adjustments quick enough in order to maximize moments in the present, in order to have a better future, because I was still processing and trying to get answers from the past. You know what I mean? Which, that's cool to do when you got certain moments and you reflecting. But in the grand scheme of things, it don't matter what you understand going forward, because it don't matter what you understand about the past if you're taking the present to figure out the past and it's affecting your future. Then it's time to move forward. So that's why I understand what he's saying when he says, invest in 7, give a portion of 7 and also 8. You know what I mean? Keep going. And I guess that's a fancy way of saying I didn't always have the right attitude. That's why I wanted to stream about this, and that's why I wanted to speak about this. I did not always have the right attitude regarding my current situation. God was trying to show me and show the world that I can put Terrell in a situation. He's still going to trust me. It's going to be unfair, but he's going to still be wise. It's going to be unfair, but he's going to still be patient. It's going to be hard, but he's still going to move on. He's not going to know why, but he's still going to trust that it's going to work out. God looks for people in the world to show himself mighty. God looks for people who people have counted out to show himself that he chooses who he raises up and who he brings down. And that's why I'm bringing this stream, is because true to the nature of the conversation that was just had on Den of Kings, all that sound good to you in that situation. But the wiser you become, the better you navigate these situations. You get the wisdom from navigating tough times, but you can't navigate tough times without resilience. So resilience allows you to stay in a tough situation, and from that tough situation, you get wisdom. So each time you get back into a tough situation, then you have an updated process to go through it and to endure it. You know what I mean? And that's why you should keep the faith. That's why you should not compare yourself to the next person. That's why you should not quit and try as hard as possible to not rest on a bad attitude, and not to make a bad day a bad week, and a bad week a bad month. I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I've been there, but how much time do we waste? Looking back, hindsight is 20/20. They say regret is just a sign of mental progression. Regret is just a sign of mental progression. So if you haven't advanced in your wisdom, then you wouldn't even have regret, because in that moment, you made a decision and you moved on. But since you're advancing mentally, then you understand, oh man, I could have handled that different. You know what I mean? So that's what all of this is saying, keep the spiritual side, appreciate life, but live life, work, work. Don't slow up for nobody unless you feel like God got you in a situation where he wants you to sit down, and you will know it. It'll be jail, you know what I'm saying? It'll be like hospital. It'll be like no money, no car, no gas money, no lights on. You know what I'm saying? Like, God will sit you down. You don't have to guess when God is sitting you down. If God sits you down, there is no going anywhere. Ain't no going nowhere. But other than that, keep working. Keep working. I know it's tough. I know you locked in with somebody and they didn't pay their portion of the bills. And now you back at grandma's house. Or now you back at mama's house. I know it. I've been there. I've done it. But for whatever is in your reach, whatever is within your skill set, whatever is within your talents and your gifts, work that. Work that. Work that. Because that's what that situation is designed for. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That's what it's designed for. You know, that's what it's designed for. Think about these CEOs. What's his name? Jack Ma. He said he couldn't get hired nowhere. Imagine him during that time. He feeling it like life is unfair and it's hard. I'm talking about the owner and founder of Alibaba. But imagine if he got those jobs and he didn't go through those hardships. You know what I'm saying? We might not even have him as a billionaire now. You feel what I'm saying? I could say that too about myself. It's small jobs I applied for that I didn't get, that at the time it felt like life was unfair, but I'm glad I didn't get them. I'm glad I didn't get them because I might have been stuck on a level that wasn't meant for me. You know what I mean? So, you know, put a suitcase. If you building something by faith right now, put a suitcase in the chat. Put a suitcase in the chat. If you building something by faith, put a building in the chat. Put strong arm in the chat. Say I'm building something. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Let me stop for some questions in the chat though. Anybody got any questions right now? You know, the main thing is to keep the faith, man. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. You know what I'm saying? Keep the faith. Now, the last part about this is this, man. And if you don't believe in God, then you probably not gonna feel this. You probably not gonna understand it. But it's all good. You know, I gotta do what I gotta do what's right. I gotta do what's right. After Solomon wrote about all of these things, he met all of these people. He explored the riches of the world. He explored all the fine wines. He had all the women. He explored all the pleasures. He had everything that he could lay his eye on. He had all the wisdom. Smartest man to ever live. Some say the richest man to ever live. You know, after he went through all of this, he saw the wise man be overlooked. He saw the foolish man be powerful. He saw the man who did evil his entire life live a long life. He saw the righteous live short life. You know what I mean? Like he said, there is one who is oppressed and he can't sleep at night. There's another who is the oppressor and he can't sleep at night. You know, he saw all of these things and what he concluded. You know, what he concluded. He didn't say get the money. You know what I mean? He didn't say get the girls. Like, what he concluded is that you should fear God and keep his commandments. You know, only a God-centered purpose lasts. Everything else fades. You know, only a God-centered purpose lasts. Everything else fades. That's why we want to look at intrinsic value instead of external value. You know, if this talk hit you tonight, hey, type locked in the chat. If you locked in, type locked in, man. If you locked in, type lock in. Blessings, 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 blessings. So yeah, man, appreciate it. If you don't get nothing else, appreciate life. Appreciate life. When you eat, enjoy that meal. You know, enjoy that meal. If you got a spouse, enjoy that spouse. If you got kids, enjoy those kids. Whatever the things that you have right now, where you're at, be content with that. Because all of that is a gift from God. God controls all of that. And maybe he's looking to see what you do with what you have before he elevates you. Maybe he's looking to see what you do with the influence that you have before he elevates you. But enjoy what you have. Live for something bigger than yourself. For me, that's God. That's what we got to do. But at the same time, though, I'm not telling you to be passive when it comes to your dreams. I'm not telling you not to handle your business when it comes to handling your business. I'm not telling you not to diversify your portfolio. I'm not telling you not to work those talents and those gifts that you have. I'm not telling you not to start that side business or not to save your money and start investing or not to go back to school or to whatever it is that you've been dreaming about, whatever it is that you've been thinking about, that you can do better, that you can do more. Do it. Do it. You should do it. Do it to the extent that you can, hard as you can work, and not stress and not stress at night too much, and not go too many nights without sleep. The hardest you can work and still have joy and peace, that's how hard you go. That's how hard you go. You know, you called to be the head and not the tail. You called to be the lender and not the borrower. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't mean to get preachy tonight, but I'm just saying, I'm being honest. This is like, normally y'all see whatever y'all see, but you know what I mean? Like, God looks like you when he's inside of you. You know what I'm saying? The Spirit of God can reside in all of us. In all of us. You know what I mean? And the other day when I was at TD Jake's church, he said too many people are focused on the situation and not the position. Bruh, that took me out. What do you mean? We're too busy focused on our situation in life, in the world, in the economy, in the middle class, lower class, poverty class, rich class, upper class, you know, colors, creeds, ethnicities, politics. We so busy worried about our condition that we forget about our position. What's our position? You are a child of the Most High God. You were chosen for such a time as this. God knew you in your mother's womb. He called you and he set you apart before you were even born. He formed you. He gave you life. He gives you life. That's your position. That's your position. And we don't earn it. We don't earn it. Who in here was like, yeah, I remember. And I know you get some people that do this, and I'm not saying they're lying, but I'm just saying I haven't had this experience. But who in here can say, yeah, man, I remember thinking, man, I want to be born. I want to come to this world. You know what I mean? God gave you that. So don't focus on the situation in life. Focus on your position with your creator. You know what I mean? Focus on your position with your creator. But yeah, chat, man, we on the road to 25 followers. Every follower helps the message reach more people. Next week stream probably not gonna be as like, you know what I mean, it's gonna be less formal like normal, but I had to prepare because I wanted to get that off my chest, because I know we deal with a lot of people that my bad. Gotta respond to the chat though. But I know we deal with a lot as far as this social media, as far as people trying to achieve things in life. I know we deal with a lot as far as people just ultimately trying to be stressed because you might not be where you want to be in life. You might be dealing with some frustrations. You might be dealing with some things you don't understand. But ultimately, just don't give up hope. Keep the faith. Keep believing. And get the lesson out of it. Get the lesson out of it. Get the lesson out of it. And I'm talking to myself too. You know, get the lesson out of it. Y'all know I always make football references. I used to hate running a route, the quarterback throwing the ball, me knowing that I'm about to get hit. Or even when I was quarterback, me throwing the ball, knowing I'm about to get hit and don't complete the pass. I hated that. If I'm going to get hit, Chad, if I'm going to get hit with these trials and tribulations, if I'm going to get hit with these stressful moments and this, whatever it may be that I'm going through, if I'm going to get hit with injustice, if I'm going to get hit with ridicule, if I'm going to get hit with hate, if I'm going to get hit with, you know, whatever it is, I want to get the lesson. I want to complete the pass. I want to become the man that I know I can be, or even better than I thought I could ever be. You know what I mean? Because we all going to get hit. We all going to go through some things. But the main thing is I hope you get the lesson. But with that being said, chat, anybody got any questions right now? Let me check the chat. Let me check the chat. But yeah, you know, I just want to know what, you know, ask yourself what area of your life right now where you learning to believe again. You know, are you just dating? Are you finished dating? Are you just getting back into the dating scene? Are you just getting back into jobs, or like, you know what I mean? What's one area of your life where you're learning to believe again? Me personally, it's on my purpose. Like, I've always been purpose driven. But after I read the same things that I presented you today, it's like you don't know the route, and you can't control, what you thought was supposed to happen. So your purpose, before any purpose going on out there, this is what I had to learn to believe again. Before any purpose takes place out there in the world, in the environment, in the community, it has to be planted here, inside. It has to be planted. It has to be firm. It has to be established. It has to be solidified. This has to be your foundation. And then we manifest outside what we see and we stand for on the inside. If y'all never heard that story of Walt Disney, right? It's a place inside of Disneyland called Stone Mountain. Okay, so the story goes, Walt Disney was sitting on a bench. He was looking outside into a field, a place that was just grass, open space. And he started saying, hey, do you see this building? And do you see this? And do you see that? And he started describing what he saw. And it was very vivid, very precise. He had envisioned it. And he started describing it. And the people came around him and they started taking notes. And they started taking notes. They took notes. They took notes. Took more notes. Okay, what did you say, Walt Disney? They taking notes. And eventually, what he was describing became Stone Mountain. And when Stone Mountain had its grand opening and its dedication, Walt Disney had died. And so a guy got up to speak. And he said, it's a shame that Walt Disney wasn't here. He said, the guy got up and said, it's a shame that Walt Disney didn't get to see this and that he's no longer here. And he went on to say the rest of his speech. And then Walt Disney's wife got up and said, let me correct you. Walt Disney saw this before we saw this. We're just now getting the opportunity to see what he envisioned long before it came to pass. And that's all I'm telling us. That's all I'm saying. Before it happens out there, the car, the clothes, the jewelry, the portfolio, the money, the house, the peace, people treating you right, before any of that happens out there, it's going to have to happen in here. So that's why we all need help. You know what I mean? That's why we all need help. So yeah, that's the thing that I'm learning to believe again. I'm learning to believe again that I know what's in here, and it's only a matter of time before I see it out there. And you guys help me do that. You know what I'm saying? You guys help me do that. You guys help me do that. But if this talk did anything for you guys, and I didn't mean to preach today, hopefully I didn't sound preachy, but I just had to get the information. Like, I want you to get the information. But if this talk is hitting your spirit, I feel like I'm about to do an altar call. Come down to the front and come down to the chat. Say, come down to the chat. Dedicate your life to the Lord. Nah, I ain't like, but if that's what you want to do, I'm cool. But if this talk hitting your spirit though, real talk, hit that follow button. We building something different here. We on the road to 25 followers strong. It's a faith-based creative family. We believe in even when life we believe even when life is lifing. You know what I'm saying? Even when life is lifing. God didn't promise easy. He promised eternal. That's where peace is. You know what I mean? So I'm going to thank my followers. You know, I'm going to go through y'all names, but shout out to Nest Talk Live. Shout out to Willy Wonka. Shout out to Jafin. Shout out to Katie Kohler. Shout out to Abigail. Shout out to Church. Church. Shout out to all my followers, man. Appreciate y'all. Like I said, I'm gonna remember it. And if you don't know, y'all can catch my podcast, Table Topic, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Y'all can catch me live here every Thursday at 8 p.m. Y'all can catch the replays on TerrellJacksonLIve and Table Topic YouTube. I'm on Facebook. All my handles Terrell Jackson Official across the board. I appreciate y'all being here. God bless. It's been real. It's been great. You know, so stay locked in, man. Stay being blessed. And you know, be cool. Chad, I'm out. It's been real. Peace.